Welcome to Santa Clarita Weekly, where we cover all things local in Santa Clarita Valley every Saturday morning at 9 on KQRU 107.9. Join hosts Tim Haddock and Sage Rafferty as they uncover the latest news, events, sports highlights, and more, keeping you connected and engaged with what matters most in our hometown.
Welcome back to another edition of Santa Clarita Weekly with Tim Haddock and Sage Rafferty. I'm Sage, he's Tim. You can listen to us on the radio at KQRU 107.9 FM on Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. And we are also on YouTube and Instagram, and you can find us online at santaclaritastar.com. So 2 books were removed from a book fair by the PTA at Mountain View Elementary last month. 3 members of the Mountain View PTA with ties to the group Moms for Liberty decided the books were not age appropriate for elementary school students and removed them from the book fair without consent or input from administrators, the school board, or the book fair organizers. In sports, CIF Southern Section baseball and softball playoff brackets are out. The Hart baseball team is the Foothill League champion and will play Simi Valley in the first round of the CIF Southern Section Division II playoffs. West Ranch, Saugus, Valencia, and Castaic made the playoffs, giving the Foothill League 5 teams. Trinity Classical Academy and Vasquez High from Acton are in the playoffs, and Santa Clarita Christian plays a Southern Section Division 8 wildcard playoff game. The Valencia softball team is the number 2 seed in the Southern Section Division II playoffs and have a bye in the first round of the playoffs. Hart, Saugus, and West Ranch also qualified for the playoffs. And Vasquez High in Acton earned a spot in the Southern Section Division 6 playoffs. And then we'll talk about the Dodgers. The Dodgers went on a 6-game winning streak on the road last week. They swept the Nationals in DC and won 2 of 3 games against the Blue Jays in Toronto. Their winning streak started with a 10-0 shutout over the Mets at Dodger Stadium. So let's start talking about the book fair at Mountain View Elementary, which is in the Saugus Union School District. The literary book fair at Mountain View Elementary was the target of book banners. 3 members of the school's PTA, allegedly associated with the organization Moms for Liberty, removed 2 books from the book fair. One was The Insiders by author Mark Oshiro, and the other was Fighting Words by Kimberly Brubaker Bradley. The Insiders is about a middle school student who is gay and trying to fit in at a new school. Fighting Words is about 2 sisters who are in foster care and are coping with abuse. A chapter of Moms for Liberty started in Los Angeles last year with the leadership primarily based right here in Santa Clarita. Moms for Liberty has been designated as an extremist group by the Southern Poverty Law Center. So Tim, The Insiders is a popular book with a lot of teens, especially gay teens. What are your thoughts on this?
Okay, so The Insiders tackles topics of diversity, acceptance, and inclusion, all words that Moms for Liberty find offensive. But it's also about a boy and his gay experiences. It's about a boy who is trying to make friends at a school that doesn't have a lot of experience with gay students. It could also be described as a book about a new kid in school who is different from most of the other kids and is having a hard time making friends and fitting in. And Fighting Words is a little more controversial. It's a book about 2 sisters in foster care growing up with social workers and foster parents and have a mom in prison and no other family members to take care of them. So they have to adjust to new schools, find part-time jobs just to make money for clothes, food, school supplies, and life after foster care. So they have trouble making friends with other kids whose parents aren't too thrilled about their mom being in prison. The most controversial part of the story, though, is the sisters are victims of sexual abuse and sexual assault. The 2 sisters try to resolve the history of sexual abuse in their lives in different ways. So it's a story about victims of sexual assault, sexual abuse, but it's also a story about support and love between the two sisters. It's about how the victims of sexual assault and abuse are treated by peers, caretakers, and authority figures who are supposed to help them. Now, critics say the book is one of the most important books ever written for kids, and it's described as compassionate, truthful. Truthful is very important, and beautiful. The Mountain View Elementary PTA decided otherwise. Never mind students at Mountain View Elementary be exposed to the stories about kids in foster care or gay kids at school. It makes it more complicated that the sisters in Fighting Words are Black and the gay boy in the Insiders is Latino, but Moms for Liberty would never object to stories with marginalized characters, or does that fall into their definition of critical race theory? Perhaps another topic for another day. The Mountain View PTA had no right, no reason to remove these books from the book fair, but certain PTA members don't think they did anything wrong. Rachel Villanueva, the president of the Santa Clarita Valley PTA Council, said in an emailed response to a request for comment about the book fair, a statement is coming and it is not the policy of the PTA to censor book fairs. That's good to know. Book fairs should not be censored. In fact, the PTA should have policies that invite diverse and different voices to be available at book fairs. The SCV PTA says once it was made aware of what was happening at the Mountain View Elementary Book Fair, actions were taken to fix the situation. Those actions were not specifically addressed in the email. But I want to talk about one particular scene that stood out for me in the book, Fighting Words. One of the sisters is in therapy talking about her sexual assault. The therapist tells her she is probably not the only one in her class to experience sexual abuse. The sister tells the therapist, no one ever talks about it at school. The therapist tells her, maybe more people should, maybe more people should. Maybe if more people felt they could talk about it, it wouldn't happen as often. So we shouldn't stop talking about it. It being sexual abuse or book banning.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is an important story. And just to clarify, I think what was happening is they had the books out, a number of books out for sale, and some books just sort of vanished and they disappeared. And we didn't know, people were asking, where are these books? Why did they disappear? And people were saying, well, maybe they got sold. It turned out somebody was hiding them. Took them to another area and hid them, so kids couldn't have access to them, and they couldn't purchase those books. So, and these books are meant to help kids. They're not meant to do anything other than help kids and help kids cope with, everyday life and the things that, LGBTQ kids experience, or kids that are victims of abuse. I mean, these are important books, and like you said, they should not be banned. And I believe both of them are on the Moms for Liberty ban lists, the books that Moms for Liberty is trying to ban nationwide. You're listening to KQRU 107.9 FM in Santa Clarita. You can listen to us on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok, and online at santaclaritastar.com, or wherever you listen to podcasts. The Hart High baseball team, the Foothill League champs, plays Simi Valley in the first round of the CIF Southern Section Division II playoffs. Hart finished with a 21-5 overall record and was 10-2 in the Foothill League. Simi Valley was the third place team from the Coastal Canyon League in our 11-10-2. The West Ranch baseball team faces San Dimas in the first round of the Southern Section Division I playoffs. West Ranch in the second place team from the Foothill League and is 17-9-1. San Dimas is the Valley Vista League champs and has a 23-4 record. Valencia plays Aliso Niguel in the first round of the Southern Section Division II playoffs. Valencia is a fourth place team in the Foothill League. Elisa Niguel is the co-champion of the Seaview League. Castaic earned an at-large playoff bid in the Southern Section Division 4 and will play Culver City in the first round. Castaic is 14-14. Culver City is the Bay League champion and 22-4. Saugus faces Calvary Chapel in the first round of the Southern Section Division 5 playoffs. Saugus is the second place team from the Foothill League and is 16-12. Calvary Chapel tied for third place in the Orange Coast League and is 14-10. Trinity Classical Academy won the Heritage League championship and is undefeated at 19-0. Trinity is a bye in the first round of the Southern Section Division 5 playoffs and will play the winner of the Adelanto Marshall game in the second round. So Vasquez High from Acton plays Rancho Christian in the first round of the Southern Section Division 7 playoffs. Vasquez is a second place team from the Heritage League. Rancho Christian finished in second place in the Tri-Valley League. And finally, Santa Clarita Christian plays Shalhevet in the Southern Section Division 8 wildcard playoff game. So, Tim, on this Valencia versus Aliso Niguel, can Valencia, the fourth place team from the Foothill League, pull off an upset against the Seaview League co-champs?
Right. So Valencia has a really tough first round game. Being the fourth place team in the Foothill League kind of put them in a spot where they have to play a league champion. I'm not sure exactly how good Aliso Niguel is, but I do know that league always produces quality teams. So, but Valencia is not going to have an easy first round game at all. They're going to have to play one of their best games of the year just to get out of the first round.
Okay, so what Castaic versus Culver City, as an at-large team, can Castaic overcome the odds against the undefeated Bay League champions Culver City?
Right. So Castaic earned this playoff spot on reputation. You know, they won a Southern Section championship last year. They went on to the state regional playoffs, won a state regional championship. So they had a lot of success last year. And even though they were a fifth place team out of the Foothill League and they have a 500 record this year, their success last year put them in the playoffs this year. It doesn't mean that they're going to have the same success as last year. They lost a lot of their senior players off of that team last year. But Castaic still has some players with playoff experience. They've been in this situation before, and that will help them. You know, they have a tough first round game against Culver City, and they will have a lot of tough games in the playoffs. But to their, on the positive note for Castaic, it's nothing new to them. They've been in these type of playoff games before, and they were very successful when they were in them last year. So all right. we want to add on here that we actually talked to the Hart baseball coach and one of the Hart pitchers. Our first interview, I got to talk with Ian Edwards. He's a pitcher for the Hart High baseball team. He was on the mound in the last two Foothill League games against West Ranch. And Hart had to win those games against West Ranch to win the Foothill League championship. So he was in two very important games. He closed out both games. He was the closer in both of those games, and they were both tight games and must-win games, high-pressure games for Hart. So Ian Edwards talked about being in those two games and heading into the playoffs. I also talked to the Hart High baseball coach, Jim Ozella. Jim Ozella was preparing his team for the first round of the playoffs, and we got to talking about their game against Simi Valley. And Hart played Simi Valley once already. They played them in February, a couple months ago. It was I think it was their second game of the year. And Simi Valley won that game 2-1. So I don't know how much they can take away from that game. It was so long ago, and these teams are so much different now. But they do have some history. And the last time that they played each other, Simi Valley won the game.
All right. So let's take a look at that interview.
Playoffs. So tell me what it feels like to be champions of the Foothill League.
It's super awesome. We're a super competitive team, and I think last year was kind of a down year for us, so we came back this season with a lot of a chip on our shoulder to do good, and so winning it was like a good accomplishment that we've been working for since last year, and heading into playoffs we just want to keep that same competitiveness up.
Okay, the way you won the Foothill League Championship was 2 big wins over West Ranch at the end of the season.
Yep.
Tell me about playing in those games and how exciting was it to win the championship doing it the way you did?
I was actually able to close both the games, so being out on the mound was super nerve-wracking, but having my team behind me and how much energy they had and how much fun we were all having, it was just another game of having fun with my teammates.
Or the CIF Southern Section playoffs. So how is the team playing? How's the team been playing these last couple weeks of the season, and are they ready for the playoffs?
We are, excited to get ready for the playoff time. Winning the Foothill is a culmination of a lot of hard work and effort on the part of all of our guys, our team, our coaches, our parents. It's exciting. It's a good chance for us to dogpile, which we love to do here at Hart. And, it's been a real quality year. We have a good group of seniors who are kind of leading us through the ranks here this year, and excited for them to leave the program on the right track. Playoff time, it's a little bit of a gauntlet. Playoff, it's a one and done deal. You're playing the best teams in Southern California, so you better be ready. We play on Thursday against Simi Valley here. Earlier in the year, we played Simi. Simi beat us 2-1. So we have a challenge in front of us. It's a good challenge, and you got to be excited about stuff like that.
All right, that was a great interview. So let's talk about the CIF softball playoffs. So the Valencia softball team won the Foothill League Championship with an undefeated 12-0 record. The Vikings are the second seeded team in the Southern Section Division II playoffs and have a bye in the first round. They will play the winner in the Ramona Lacerna game. Saugus finished in second place in the Foothill League with a 9-3 record. The Centurions play Sierra Canyon, the second place team from the Mission League, in the first round of the Southern Section Division III playoffs. Hart finished with a tie with West Ranch in the Foothill League. Hart plays Fullerton, the Freeway League champion, in the first round of the Southern Section Division III playoffs. Fullerton is the 8th ranked team in the Southern Section Division III polls. West Ranch plays Duarte in the first round of the Southern Section Division V playoffs. Duarte is the co-champion of the Montview League. And in the Southern Section Division VI playoffs, Vasquez High and Acton plays Tackwitz in the first round. Vasquez won the Heritage League Championship. Tackwitz is the second place team from the Mountain Pass League and number 2 ranked team in the Southern Section Division VI. So Tim, can Hart overcome the challenge of playing a highly ranked team, Fullerton, in the first round of the playoffs?
Yeah, Hart probably has the hardest first round game of all the teams from the Foothill League. They got I won't say a bad draw, but that's a tough first round game going up against a team that's not only ranked in the top 10 in their division, but they're also a champion, the league champion team. So yeah, Hart has its hands full, and that's going to be a really tough first round matchup for them.
All right. So for the Mission League competition, how will Saugus, coming from the Foothill League, fare against a strong team from the Mission League, Sierra Canyon?
Right. So Saugus, for some reason, seems to have a lot of respect from other teams. I was talking to the Valencia coach and some of the Valencia players about them, and of all the teams in the Foothill League, they don't like playing Saugus. They're a scary team. They seem to win games when they're not supposed to, and I don't know how to explain it. The kids on Valencia's softball team didn't know how to explain it either. But they may be the toughest second place team in the playoffs. Sierra Canyon is a big name. I don't know how good the softball team is, but just from the past, Sierra Canyon produces quality teams in all sports. So this will be a tough first round game, but Saugus finds a way to win these games. So we'll see. I think Saugus may have an edge here just because they have a lot of confidence and they're just a hard team to beat. They're a hard team to beat. So I like Saugus's chances in this first round game.
So you have another interview, correct, that you want to share?
Oh, yeah, yes. I talked to Abby Garcia, the center fielder from the Valencia softball team, and she talked about getting ready for the playoffs too, and how having a bye in the first round may play to their advantage.
All right, so let's take a look at that.
The team went undefeated, went 12-0 in the Foothill League, and you won the league championship for the second year in a row. Mm-hmm. Tell me about the Foothill League season and how is that preparing you for the playoffs?
I think this season, especially going undefeated, it's kind of given us motivation and confidence going in, because going undefeated is a big thing. Our team chemistry is really great, and because of that, confidence is a big thing in this sport. This game is a mental sport, so really having that confidence is what's gonna help us go far, because that's a key thing. And if you're down on yourself, then it affects it affects everything, your mindset. So just having confidence as a team and playing together as a team will help us go far. Okay,
so you mentioned confidence. Mm-hmm. And you have a first-round bye in the playoffs. So how is this team prepared for the playoffs? And is confidence a key for this team to succeed in the playoffs?
Oh, 100%. I think confidence, whether it's as a team or as individual players, is one of the most important things in this sport, because as soon as you let things start to hit your ego or get you down, that's when you see yourself start to struggle and make mistakes. So I think confidence is one of the biggest things that'll help us keep going far. And I think having a bye the first week will be great for us, because we've been playing games since November, so I think it's great to have a little break and we could prepare ourselves. Especially, we'll probably be seeing really good competition going in straight to the second round. So I think this week it will be good for us to give ourselves time to prepare for it, and yeah.
Okay, so let's switch to Major League Baseball. We're going to be talking about the Los Angeles Dodgers. Last week, Tim, you didn't want to talk about the Dodgers very much. Mm-mm. But this week, I think it's a little bit different. So the Dodgers went on a 6-game winning streak, sweeping the Nationals in DC before heading to Toronto. They won the first 2 games against the Blue Jays before losing Sunday's game 3-1. The Dodgers outscored their opponents 43-8 during the 6-game winning streak. In their first game against the Blue Jays, Shohei Ohtani was booed by the fans in Toronto. Reports emerged during the offseason that Ohtani was going to sign with the Blue Jays, but they turned out to be false. So Blue Jay fans feel like a dumped boyfriend, and they'd let Ohtani know. He responded by hitting a home run in his first at-bat against the Blue Jays on Friday. It was his 7th home run of the season. After the game, he was asked about the boos from the crowd, and he said he was, quote, not surprised, end quote. Heart High graduate and Dodgers starter Tyler Glasnow beat the Blue Jays for the first time in his career on Saturday. The Dodgers won the game 4-2. It was the first time in 10 career starts Glasnow beat the Blue Jays. So after that game, Glasnow was leading the National League in strikeouts with 53 in innings pitched with 43. The Dodgers are still on the road and play the Diamondbacks in Arizona before coming home for a weekend series against the Atlanta Braves. So, Tim, I want to talk about Ohtani's motivation here. So did the boos from Toronto fans seem to motivate Shohei Ohtani to perform well against the Blue Jays?
I don't know if it was much of a motivation. Shohei Ohtani doesn't need a whole lot to get him motivated, but I do think he wanted to send them a message. He wanted to quiet them, and he did it in a big way. He went up there and I'm not sure he was trying to hit a home run, but his home run put Toronto Blue Jay fans in their place, and they weren't so vocal afterward. They tended to not try to give Ohtani any reason to respond to them after that.
So let's with Glasnow leading the National League in strikeouts and innings pitched, how deep is the Dodgers pitching staff right now?
Well, I don't know how deep it is because Glasnow and Yamamoto seem to be the top of the rotation, and it drops off pretty quick after that. But Glasnow is in the conversation, early conversations for the Cy Young Award for the best pitcher in the National League. So we'll see if he can stay there. There was a little bad news after that game against the Blue Jays, because he left the game in the 7th inning and he had cramps. He was cramping up in his legs, and Glasnow has a history of getting injured. So we'll see how we'll see how serious that cramping was, and if it'll affect him in his next start.
All right. Well, hopefully the Dodgers keep on winning. We like what we're seeing right now, but that's our show. So tune in next week for more discussions about the news from Santa Clarita. You can listen to us on the radio at KQRU 107.9 FM at 9 on Saturday mornings. You can also watch us on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, and listen to us on SantaClaritaStar.com or wherever you listen to podcasts. Leave us a comment and be sure to subscribe to Santa Clarita Weekly Online. Thanks for listening and have a great week.
Thank you for listening to Santa Clarita Weekly. You can watch the show on Santa Clarita Star's YouTube channel and Facebook page, as well as listen in on the radio at KQRU 107.9. Visit SantaClaritaStar.com for more content and tune in right here to KQRU 107.9. A new voice for Santa Clarita.
As you go about your day, you want to know what's happening to keep you ahead. The Santa Clarita Star has you covered. At SantaClaritaStar.com, you will find stories that you won't find anywhere else. See the local news website everyone is talking about. Visit SantaClaritaStar.com today.
You are listening to KQRU 107.9, a new voice for Santa Clarita. KQRU is Santa Clarita's local station for indie alternatives and progressive talk, the smooth jazz at night to soothe your mind after a hard day's work. Our station is entirely listener-supported through local donations with no commercials, so your support is extremely important to help us pay the rent for our antenna and broadcasting studio. Visit kqru.org to make a donation.